ready to kick off another week of live racing right here in Bensalem, Pennsylvania at Parx Racing. Track announcer Chris Griffin here on Out of the Gate, as you can see here on my shirt. Wait, did I go the right way? No, I got to go this way. Out of the gate, right there. No, I went the wrong way. Yeah, I did it right. I had it right the first time. Out of the gate here, ready to bring you 10 races on this Monday afternoon. But before we do that, as always, let's take a look at some of last week's winners. Here is the Parx Playback.
Parx Playback time, here we go. D-Plane was D-Boss, getting up in the final strides to pull off a huge upset for jockey Angel Castillo and trainer David DeTolo. Fun fact, I still have never learned how to drive stick shift, but Pop the Clutch gets the win in a driving finish. Aduviel Ignacio with the score. Gravitron, not to be confused with Megatron. The Hall of Famer Frankie Pennington is riding like Optimus Prime. And this horse on the turf was ready to roll out. Raging Tempest with a dominating run for trainer Howard Brown Jr., who teamed up with Jonathan Ocasio, much the best winner on Tuesday. Leading rider Ruben Silvera was back up on the horse and took the Goddess of Snakes right to the winner's circle. Jamie Ness with another win. We are just having a good time. Our Goodtime Charlie and the Bow Show, Adam Bowman, with a nice stretch run for trainer John McCaslin. Wednesday time, Donovan Smith sent out Broad Jumper, who soared over the competition with jockey Fabian Jones. Then it was Malitza, was showing promising form on the turf. Nate Pisana training the turf runner to victory, and Andrew Wolfson has been the man on the turf course. And it was Violent Turbulence, holding off all traffic and game and victory for trainer Kate DeMasi and jockey Sylvester Gonzalez. Have a great week.
There's a look at some of the winners from last week, and here's the stats for the week of July 11th through 13th. That's new. I like that. Nice addition there. I didn't know that that was happening. That looks fantastic, but check that out there. A list of the jockeys, trainers, and of course the post positions where the horses did break from. It's on Facebook and Instagram, so I want to make sure that I give a shout out to both. So head on over to Instagram, Parx_Racing. Head on over to Facebook as well, and you can catch all of those stats and a lot of other great content right here at Parx. Let's take a look at some of the races here on the card. Race number 1, 6 furlongs is the distance before scratches and changes. So if there are adjustments or changes, I'll get those to you once we get into our live show. But the number 1, Magical Anna, has speed from the inside. Warmer day, a little humid temperatures, so we'll see kind of how the track is playing. Usually that lends to a little bit from off the pace, but we'll see how Magical Anna does to the inside. You know, showed some of that speed. Fade in the late stages. Adam Bowman, the Bow Show, will be up here for James Noble, who doesn't have a win this year, but I think that this horse is well spotted. Has always been right around that 3-1 mark, and of course the 1 is going to be 3-1 on the morning line here for race number 1. Race number 2 at 1 mile is the distance, 7,500 non-4. I'll talk about Matula again on the live show, have a video replay, and talk about the stretch run. This horse comes back from Belmont, 2 starts back, ran here at Parx, and that was a nice win, winning by 2 lengths off the layoff, beating Bellamy's Party Girl, who's back in this spot. So for me, the 3, Matula, Sylvester Gonzalez, 4-year-old filly, goes back to the rider who won on her 2 starts ago. I think Matula gets the victory in race number 2. Don't forget to follow all of our great content. Hit that subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. What a weekend it was for the Pennsylvania breds. Part of the match series as well. Remember, those championships are going to be here in October, but we take a look at 2 big winners, names you should be very familiar with. As part of the match series, they go to Laurel Park. On the left, there's Chubwagon, of course. Chubwagon winning again in dominating style. And then Barron right there to the right. Big win in the DeFrancis. I mean, we take a look at that big effort in the DeFrancis Dash. He went off at a little bit of a price as well. There were some favorites, and he went off at some value there. So Barron gets back to that good sprint distance. And then how about this? Saw Busch Racing Stable. They've been always very active on social media, and they were talking about running second to Chubwagon. You know, very proud of Kaylasaurus, her second place finish against Chubwagon, finishing behind her in the match series. So a lot of these connections you continue to see follow along. Great stretch run for Chubwagon, and there she is, of course, from PHBA and their Twitter account. The horse of the year. She was the Pennsylvania bred horse of the year, Chubwagon. She ships to Laurel Park. She wins impressively. I'm sure we'll see Chubwagon a few more times right here at Parx later this year. So congratulations to all those connections. Again, don't forget about the match series. We'll find out who's going to win those championships in October. Race number 3 at 1 mile, optional $50,000 race in here. Competitive field in this spot. I'll go with the 5 Smoky White. Going back to 2 turns, giving the horse another chance around the 2-turn distance. Does very well sprinting. We'll see if 2 turns is kind of what he wants to do. Frankie Pennington's going to end up on the outside horse in Practical Coach. Maybe that's a bit interesting there for trainer Butch Reed, but I like the 5 Smoky White. Top pick. Race number 4, 6.5 furlongs the distance in a 12.5 claiming race, and I'm going to go towards the outside here with the number 9 when I can get to my note there on it. But go for the kill here. Trainer Freddie Velasquez does claim the runner off the last effort. He hits it about 14%. I think this is a race where you've got to try and find a little bit of value in here, so why not with an 8-1 shot towards the outside in the 9. 5-year-old gelding, only 1 win here at Parx, is 0-2 at the distance, but I think you take this horse off that class drop down to 7,500, you go back up to 12.5, an outside draw. I think go for the kill is actually in a pretty good spot here to contend with that early pace and also just a little bit better and stronger down the stretch as well. So go for the kill is the top choice. Race number 5 at 7 furlongs. When we take a look at this race in here, Last Investment showed speed, faded through the lane last time, 4th beaten 2 1/4 lengths as the favorite. This horse has been a beaten favorite in the last 2 starts. Comes back at this 7,500 on 3 level. Don't take too short of a price. I mean, this horse is going to be 5-2 on the morning line. Again, beaten favorite in the last 2. So if this horse is going to be, right around that 9-5 range or take a lot of action, just be a little careful here at too short of a price. But at this 7 furlong distance, stretching out from the 5.5, I think getting more ground to work with. Last Investment seems like a solid wager. The 4-year-old gelding for Mari Dominguez and Andy Hernandez, who won a stakes race over the weekend. So he continues his strong season. We'll see what happens there in race number 5. We're going to talk about the Philly Big 5 coming up. But as we always do here on the show, we want to catch up with the trainer on the backside. So this was our time with trainer Patrick Ashton.
Well, I started in Jamaica, where I'm from, back in the 70s, where I bought my first horse. And that's where it really started. I migrated and I started working with Ornis horses in New York at Yonkers for years. And I came back to Thoroughbreds, which I've been at Parx here for a while, a long time.
Trainer Patrick Ashton came to Parx after working with Standardbreds early in his career. He remembers the first horse he ever owned.
Well, the first horse I bought was Big Sid. He was like 8 years old. And he was really a pleasant horse to work around with, and I started grooming him and doing everything with him. And I fell in love with the game, gambling and back and forth. We only ran 1 day a week.
What is horse racing like in Jamaica? And does Patrick Ashton remember some horsemen from then?
It's a festival. People look forward for it. Everybody's there shouting and going on up the rail. Everybody had their favorite riders there. So it's a festival. Well, my guys were all grooms, and they're deceased now. But, they were really good horsemen. They know what they were doing at the times because they all came out of the English system. I can remember all the old English trainers, Eileen Cliggott, Jerry Skeleton. They're all English people. So it's a different way of approaching the horses than the way we approach horses here.
What differences does he notice between thoroughbreds versus standardbreds?
Well, harness horses, we call them jugheads because they're more like mules. They're tough. The way they're treated is 10 times different. They go out, they jog 3 miles, they come back, they never walk. You just tie them up, put them on a cross tie, put the cooler over them, and they cool out like that. Thoroughbreds are soft horses, have a lot more problems, because of the nature of the running. Then you've got the trotters, who is a different action from pacers. They're all different, three different entities.
Does trainer Patrick Ashton like the way his barn is shaped these days?
Well, it's the type of horses you have now versus back then. And you get a better stock and you proceed better, It's better racing when you have better stock and more horses. We got 12 right now, so I'll tell you the honest truth, a 5,000 claimer is great for me. I don't have that impetus to want to be no big time trainer. I enjoy the little guys, I enjoy the little horses. It's not a big deal for me.
Selfishly, I had to ask Patrick Ashton who his favorite announcer is.
Oh, Chris, the man.
But you said somebody's better. Who did you say was
Oh,
better?
Stan Bernstein, I was telling you about. He's the honest race caller back in the day in the 80s.
Trainer Patrick Ashton has met many great people in horse racing.
You want me to tell you about Jose Ortiz, my favorite jock? When he came here first, I'm the first guy to ride him, and he always remembered me and always come around when he comes here, holler at me and all that stuff. And he's a superhuman being. I've made a lot of friends. You got guys here who have helped me over the years, and you know, I enjoy racing. Basically, I just enjoy being out. At my age, I want to be out. It keeps me healthy.
Shout out, thanks again to trainer Patrick Ashton. Carryover jackpot in the Philly Big Five, $119,614.86. Always the last 5 races of the day. It's a jackpot wager. And race number 6 is going to be for the 2-year-olds going 5 furlongs, and we always get excited about these 2-year-old races. The fillies are going to take shape in there. The number 2, Uptown Amanda, she shows a nice work there on June 29th. 47 flat, breezing from the gate. I think that bullet drill says that this horse is going to be ready here, keyed up first time out. Uptown Amanda, purchased for $27,000, and you get Frankie Pennington. I like the 2 quite a bit there, Uptown Amanda, in race number 6. Race number 7, going a mile and 70 yards, state bred allowance race. Olivare is going to be towards the outside, and this horse off of a 5th place finish, but that was in a tough stakes race going 6 furlongs when they went 109-4 for a final time. That's flying, and so when they go that fast, Olivare just wasn't matching up. Now gets back to Parx, gets back to, you know, a race in here when you take a look at this 2-turn race where this horse could possibly dictate the fractions up front. Should be well placed early. Frankie Pennington maybe goes back-to-back there in races number 6 and 7. On the turf here, race number 8, a mile and 70 yards starter race in this spot, and this is a competitive field in here, but when you take a look at the 5, Hey Padre, Sarah Nagel for Big Lick Farm. When you've seen these horses, they just always seem to relish the turf when I've seen these runners. A 4-year-old gelding that ran at Delaware last time, I think needed that race, now second off the layoff. Michael Sanchez in between horses here. We'll see where the horse is spotted early, but I do think Hey Padre shipping in here from, you've seen Delaware, you've seen Gulfstream Park. I think this horse is going to be well spotted for a victory. The number 5 at 9-2, so might get some value there in race number 8. We're going to talk about the late double here in just a second, but before that, we got to check out last week's performance of the week. Race number 9, tough race when you take a look at this race in here, and I'm going to go 4-5-2 in this spot. I think you could go pretty deep in this race. The number 4, Can't Stop This Man. This horse has just been very consistent, ultra consistent at the level, and this horse always seems to be finishing right there in the trifecta. 9 starts in 2022. This horse has been in the trifecta 8 out of those 9 starts. That's as honest as they come. Earned over $61,000. The 4, Can't Stop This Man, does get a rider change to Luis Rivera. We'll see how that plays, but the 4 is the top choice there in race number 9. Race number 10 to close things out. Back on the turf, 1 mile being the distance, maiden 16. Jamie Ness off the long layoff. He does well with these types. When you see these horses come back off of these types of layoffs, they run well. Brings the 4-year-old gelding back that had shown some speed. Speed has been very good on the turf horse. Turf rail still out at that 15 feet. You know, I think we're going to catch some weather. We'll keep an eye on the rain situation as we continue on throughout the day. But the 4, Sovereign Change, when you take a look at this horse, I just feel like this horse is going to be well spotted early. Yes, the layoff is a bit concerning, but I think that the barn, the rider, they do well with these types. I think that's your winner there in the 10th and final. Hey, before we get out of here, we want to touch on social media and make sure you follow us here on Out of the Gate and at Parx Racing, of course. And we saw this last week. Nate Pisana was on the turf. And how about this? He tweeted his win photo and was just hashtagging and tweeting everybody. He's a good follow on Twitter. He gets on social media and he was promoting winning the race. So always great to see here on the Twitter channel right here at Parx Racing. Don't forget you can follow us at Parx Racing at In the Grandstand. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and also Instagram. It's Parx_Racing. That does it for me. 10 races will be coming up on Monday, 11 on Tuesday and Wednesday for another great week right here at Parx, and we'll be back next week on Out of the Gate.